you doing? My name's Graeme Milne, some of you might know me as an investigator to the paranormal, and welcome here to sunny Edinburgh. But of course I'm an Aberdonian and live in Aberdeen most of my life, and I live in Torry for 10 years, and I wrote about ghostly encounters in the city, some that I've experienced and some that others have. And of course one of the greatest areas in the city is Torry. There's lots of ghost stories attached to that area. Whether or not you believe in those things or not is entirely up to you, but many people do, and it's a fascinating area. So today I'm going to tell you a couple of wee ghost stories. One of my favourites was told to me probably around 25 years ago by a chap called Ian, who I coincidentally met while photographing some old buildings in the city. And he told me this story which concerned the Torry Battery, which I'm sure is an area that most of you will know if not visited. And it's got a long history. So many years ago, of course, it was used as housing. There was a great housing shortage. So there has been people living and working there for a long, long time. So on this particular evening, it would have been about 10:30, summer's night, still very light. He decides to visit some chums down at the breakwater, where they're having a wee drink, as you do, enjoying the last phase of the day. And he decided with his two friends to take a shortcut, so they jumped into Torry Battery. And the strangest thing was, when he landed, he said the area was completely still. Still, this feeling of peace and serenity came over him, and they were looking around them. It was a very odd sensation, and there were other people standing there. Now, himself and one of his friends witnessed this, so it wasn't just him, and there were people standing wearing what he described as old-fashioned clothes, i.e. World War II military uniforms. So in the corner of that wide open space, which I'm sure you know, were standing some soldiers having a fag, some women, their arms folded, chatting, a wee boy running by with an old-fashioned girdle and hoop. And he thought for a moment that there was some sort of reenactment going on or filming, but he said it was a very strange feeling, and he began to feel a little nervous, and so they ran. When he got to the breakwater, he asked his friends to come back and look to see, and he was adamant there was something strange going on, and they thought he was winding them up. However, they agreed and they headed back up. So this is around 5-10 minutes later. Nobody there. The whole place was completely and utterly empty. He said the strangest thing was that despite there being people there doing things, talking and moving and playing, there was no sound at all. It was completely still. It was a dead space. So I guess it was kind of reenactment from the past, a replay from the past, which I think is very, very interesting. So that's the Torry Battery. However, there is another story attached to it that is slightly more alarming, and that is someone I knew called Sandra, who told me this story, and it happened in 1968. Now, in those days, she was a biker, and her and her friend, her two partners, were on their bikes, and they went up there to have a fag. So they parked the bikes, having a smoke, standing in the space. And in 1968, there was the remnants of old buildings still within that space. So, you know, they were a little less derelict than now. And they're standing there having their cigarette, and two young girls walk in the front gate, headed towards them. And she said it was really strange. They were wearing old-fashioned white nightdress kind of gowns, very pale in the complexion, and she made some throwaway comment like, "Watch out for the ghosties," just for a laugh. The two girls apparently glowered at her and headed off around the corner of one of the buildings. So I thought, this is a bit odd. You know, in the evening, quite late on, two young kids wandering about what appeared to be night clothes. So after a few minutes they followed them to see where they were. Of course they'd completely gone, and there's no way they could have got out because that wall was very, very high. So that's the Torry Battery. They got on their bikes after that and headed off rather quickly. She's adamant they were definitely spirits and not real wee kids. So that's Torry Battery. Well worth a visit. One of my most favourite buildings in Torry is Victoria Road Primary School, which I'm really glad to hear has been saved. It's far as I'm aware. Great building. So my daughter actually went to that school just before it shut. And I did spend some time there doing a little investigating. Because of course, knowing some of the staff, people that worked there, including my wife, there's all sorts of rumours about the building being haunted. It is a very old building. And my wife worked there for some time. She used to have a class in the old medical room. And I remember her telling me that she heard footsteps one day outside the door, assuming her parent was walking up a short flight of stairs, popped her head out to see who it was. There's nobody there. There's also been stories connected to other members of staff who worked in the office when school was open, and they felt the kids had gone home a presence. And this used to take over this kind of feeling of somebody standing outside the glass window of the office looking at them. Couldn't see anything, they were aware of a presence there, which was quite alarming. A number of cleaners have also told me some great stories. One story was connected to the area at the back of the school, where there's a flight of stairs that runs down to the gym hall. And this cleaner used to go in every day with her dog, and the dog would on occasion refuse to go into certain parts of the building. It would growl at something, and the hair would go up on its coat. And on this particular occasion, the dog had refused to go down the flight of stairs, and there was a chap standing at the very bottom, wearing 1930s clothing, an old cloth cap, and vanished, which had been a bit scary, I guess, for some. There was also other stories involving a cleaner who saw what she described as the apparition of a woman, which we assumed to be Liz. This cleaner was using a buffer one day, and she was aware of somebody standing behind her. She turned round, and there's a woman directly behind her watching her. She's around 5'3", her hair tied up in a bun. This is black hair, black clothing, lace-up boots, and long sleeves made of lace. She described her to a T, described her perfectly. She said she stood there for a number of seconds before she vanished, completely solid, and then she went. That cleaner in particular had another incident which I think would have been slightly more alarming, and that was when she was buffing the hall. The buffer swung round and crushed her against the wall, pinned her against the wall, and she had to shout, "For God's sake, stop it." And the electricity went off and the machine stopped. That's just two examples of someone actually having an interaction with a spirit. And she said, yeah, some days it felt okay, some days a little bit scarier. That's Victoria Road School. It's a great building. I really hope something's done with it to benefit the community. I don't know what Liz will be thinking about this as we speak, if you believe in ghosts, that is.
I believe in ghosts. I believe in the paranormal. As I say, there must be something else in this world other than just when you die, that's you finished. So, a lot of people will tell you, say, I don't believe in that. But if it happened to them, then they would believe.
Was there a friend of yours, or did you know of someone who'd actually seen something there and wet himself? He had a real scare. Do you remember that? Anything?
There was quite a few people was like that. I remember one, he finished his shift, he went back into the office. Now, to let you understand, up until about 11 o'clock, there were people working in the offices, taking in the money. After 11:30, when the last bus was out and ready to come in, I was 2 inspectors would be there for you coming back. And then they went away home. So there was nobody in the offices, so you just went in, opened the door, put your money in the night safe, and went off home. Somebody had went into the office, the locker room, to leave their gear for their shift coming on next day. And as he walked in, was 2 people there. And he spoke to them, and they just carried on with what they were doing, taking no notice of him. And he said, well, knowing a bus driver or conductor, they've got words that they use quite normally. He said, well, if you, and then they disappeared. In front of your eyes, they disappeared. That's when he became frightened. And he went himself, and we all pulled his leg. Of course, when he told us the story, we pulled his leg about it. He never got off with that sort of thing again. But there were other stories about when one thing happens, it always brings something to someone's mind. Oh, I remember when, that sort of thing. So the happenings in the garage was well documented, and a lot of it could be answered quite normally, and a lot of it, you say, strange, but truth stranger than fiction anyway. So there you are. So there is a lot of stories. There is a book, I think you'll get it in the public library. There is a book on the history of the garage in King Street. I haven't read it myself, but I am told that there's quite a few stories there that answers the questions of the people seeing the strange happenings.